I have reviewed quite a few smartphone and action camera gimbals over the time, and I can tell you that they have become one of my favorite gadgets that allow me to shoot professional looking videos. The Zhiyun Smooth 3 is by far the best smartphone gimbal I've ever tested. My name is Linus and here's my full review. Just before we start, I have reviewed the previous generation Smooth 2 and a budget Smooth Q gimbals. All the links will be down below in the video description. The gimbal ships with some paperwork, a charging cable, and a strap that can be attached to a high quality gimbal case that I found to be really handy once I'm on the go. The gimbal is made entirely of metal and it just screams quality. Everything is precisely assembled and it's really comfortable to hold it in one hand. Also, I love those red accents that make the gimbal match with my Manfrotto camera supports. The Smooth 3 is thicker and a little bit heavier than the previous generation Smooth 2 gimbal, but it looks less bulky than the budget Smooth Q. If you want to start using it, you just have to slide your phone in, make sure it sits nice and tight, press the power button for a few seconds and you're good to go. It's worth mentioning that the Smooth 3 has a built-in counterweight system, meaning that you don't need to use any counterweights like on some other gimbals. There is an extendable axis to balance the gimbal just by one step. The gimbal holds the phone in landscape mode, which I use most of the time. If you want to use the phone vertically, for example for some live streaming services, you simply need to unscrew the screw holding the phone cradle to change the position. That is a huge upgrade over some other gimbals like the Smooth 2, since you don't need to buy any extra accessories. In fact, I use the vertical mode to mount my action camera, even though this gimbal is designed for smartphones only. I can't say it worked perfectly once I started moving the gimbal, but it can get the job done for some shots. Anyway, you can buy an action camera plate to make the gimbal work perfectly with any action camera. There are a few control buttons on the gimbal that are clicky and tactile. The mode button allows you to switch from one mode to another. The default mode is called the pan following mode and I use it most of the time. If you press the mode button once, the gimbal will enter the locking mode, which is great for smooth pan and tilt shots if you want to film a particular object. If you press the mode button twice, you will enter the pan and pitch following mode, where the gimbal moves towards the direction you point camera to. This mode works pretty well too. Even if you move the gimbal quickly, you'll get that smooth shot since all the axis moves slowly. The last mode is the selfie mode and it's triggered by pressing the mode button 3 times. You can also control the gimbal manually using the joystick and I found this feature to work great. However, I suggest you reducing the pan and tilt speeds in the app to get those nice and slow cinematic shots. You can use the gimbal either with your stock camera app or with a Zplay app that is an upgraded version of the Zhiyun Assistant app and control the phone over the Bluetooth using the buttons. Obviously, you can take pictures or shoot videos, switch from the main to the front-facing camera, and so on. Also, the rotating wheel is really convenient once you want to zoom in or zoom out quite smoothly. Also, the Zplay app offers some new cool features like a time-lapse, slow motion, long exposure, or panorama modes. You can also use an object tracking feature which works quite well with moving objects. I have to tell you that the footage looks just stunning, as I was simply walking normally and I didn't try to hold my hand steadily at all, but the video still looks very smooth. Here is the quick comparison how the 4K video from my Samsung Galaxy S8 looks like with the gimbal and without the gimbal while I'm climbing up and down the stairs. Well, the difference is pretty obvious in my opinion. I remember that the Zhiyun Smooth 2 gimbal started wobbling a little bit under very strong wind, but the Smooth 3 now has 40% stronger motors and the gimbal works just fine even on a very windy day. That is really impressive. What I love is that the phone stays firmly in the gimbal no matter how hard you move it, so you won't end up breaking your new device. Also, the Smooth 3 is very silent since it uses brushless motors. The 1/4-inch screw mount allows you to attach the gimbal to all sorts of accessories like tripods. What I love about the Smooth 3 is that it can stay vertically without any tripods. The Zhiyun Smooth 3 has a replaceable 4600 mAh battery that performs just great. The official claims are about 14 hours of continuous use, and I can assure that I was able to achieve very similar results. That means that you won't need to charge the battery very often. Speaking of charging, it takes about 3 hours to fully charge the gimbal. One of my favorite features of the Smooth 3 is that you can charge your phone from the gimbal. However, you would need to use the micro USB to micro USB cable, which is sold separately, and the charging speeds are just 1 amp. The Zhiyun Smooth 3 is by far the best smartphone gimbal I've ever tested. I've used it for about 1 month and it has been working absolutely fine. I love that it looks and feels premium, it has a ton of features, and most importantly, it stabilizes the video very well even under poor weather conditions. The main shortcoming would be that there is no micro USB to micro USB cable included in the packaging, so you will need to buy it separately. At the end of the day, the price of about $300 US may sound steep for some, but the Zhiyun Smooth 3 has everything to be called a great smartphone gimbal, and thus I can easily recommend it. It was Linus, thanks for watching, and as always guys, if you have any questions, please drop me a comment down below. Also, if you're new to the channel and if you like the videos that I make, please subscribe. Finally, if you want to get all the latest updates, please follow TechLineHD on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. See you soon.